קצת שיטת בנייה על הקונספט של לימונים. אז מתחילים. כן. So, פה קודם כל אנחנו צריכים להבין את הצורה. Actually, maybe I'm going to speak English because you want English in your email. So, if you want to make this, first we need to understand the way the shape behaves. You see that there is something flat and there is kind of a dome happening on the flowers. So first we need to create a volume that will generate this movement, and then we cut the shape of the flower. So I'm just gonna do something similar to this. The idea is to show you the steps, and then you can, just follow the steps and just adapt to the design you want to do. So first we're gonna create the petals, then we're gonna make one like this, duplicate it, and then we can also add a central one. And about these little lines, these are usually what is harder to do in 3D when we print small things. So we can do little markings. I'll show you how, but that's not a must. And then once you have this, you can use this model to glue it on the box. We can just the same add leaves and the limit. So first, let's start with this. I go to SolidWorks. I open a new part. So first I want to work from the front plane. I want to make a sketch. I'm going to put with the center line, the central axis. So now we're going to check the volume, the movement of the flower. So it's a button, so we know that the base is flat. Let's put it at because we are using revolve in this function. Everything that I sketch will be duplicated on both sides. So that's why I need to divide all my sizes by 2 for now. So 1.5 will become 3 centimeters. Now that I have this, I will go back to so there is a bit of a thickness. Okay, so then I will sketch the thickness of the flower. And then I can have the movement of the leaf going like this. If I go back, it is something like that. I can even make my life easy to finish flat. So this way, it will be easier to do the next steps on on a flat surface. It's always good to have. We can always make it afterwards, but if it's already there, it's even better. So then what I can do is just put one size here to be sure that this is not too small. 2 millimeters is good. I can tell him that this line is aligned with this by selecting the line and the dot using Control on the keyboard, coincident. So this way they're on the same line. And I close this. The shaded sketch contour option is activated, so that's why it's showing me that it is complete and closed. So now I finished features, revolve, and I have the movement of the volume of the flower, what I feel here. Now I need to go on the top, from the top, and cut this. Actually, I started from front, so I'm just gonna switch the direction. So now I want to come from that direction. In order to turn your model, you do a long click on the wheel, and with your mouse you can turn your model. So now I switch for the plane that is in the correct direction. Top plane is good. Space and center. Okay, so front plane. Oh, top plane. Now I want top plane. I do a sketch, and now we need to sketch the flower. I'm just gonna do something random. But you see, I don't try to go to the end. I want to be a little bit inside, and then I will just do one petal, and we know we want to duplicate it by 5. So maybe it's better. I will do an axis, and I will do. So first, excuse me. Yeah, it's okay. So I look at this stuff from the top, yeah, it's more or less like this. So first I'm gonna make a center line. Okay, vertical. Then I'm gonna do a petal, not until top, just under, like this. I'm gonna mirror it. Again, you can bring your picture if you want to sketch on the top, it's gonna help. Once you have this, select your petal and the center of the sketch using control on the keyboard. Then you go to circular sketch pattern. And here you tell him 5. Sure. And then what we can do is stretch. Okay, here I'm gonna tell him fix that point. And then I'm gonna do it wider until we get to something that feels like that. Okay. Now I'm gonna use trim entity to delete all what I don't need in the center. And I'm gonna use fillet. Fillet of 5, 6. Again, bring a picture if you prefer. It's not that big. More like 2. And I want to have a fillet here, 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 and here. You can see that we have that. And now we're ready to punch this shape through the block to get the overall flower. Good. So feature, we're going to improve this. I go to feature, extrude cut. I'm gonna tell you, okay, I don't want offset from surface, I want through all. Okay, but you see that right now is not cutting the correct side of the sketch. So here I'm using flip side to cut in order to remove all what's around. And that's it. I have a flower that has this movement. Now if you want to have this even like little curve, we're gonna work on that in a moment. Good. Now that we did that, we come back from the top. Okay, so from here now it's the top, literally. Good. I can bring back from the top plane another cut. I'm gonna bring the sketch I did for this. I can click on the little arrow, I click on sketch, convert, and now I'm gonna bring I want to bring back the I want to bring back these curves here without this. So I'm gonna use the extend entity. And if I do a long click and I go to the other line, it's doing it for me. Okay, if not, maybe we can do that in an easier way. We can simply resketch it. I think might be the easiest way is to just resketch, because this goes deeper inside than this. So in that case, what we can do, we're gonna just grab this and delete. You grab your, again from the top, and you make one that is, you see, slightly smaller. And the goal here is to we can even, if you want to do that even better, it should just start from here, and we're gonna treat that curve goes until here. Okay, so that cut actually is somewhere until here, so we want to have that, and we want to have another curve like this. And here what you need to do is you need to, what is it here? Okay, yeah, you just need to resketch this the thickness of the petal. I'm just trying to be faithful to your concept of what I see. Because the petal is going, see, there is this little lines here as if it was under if not, it means that maybe we did this fillet too deep. We need to make it less so we could have something carved here. Simplest is to grab this and bring it back the lines the way they were. Up. Okay, I just do a long click on the extend and I go extend. I click on the first line, I click, stay clicked, and move to the next, and click, move to the next. Okay. I need to click on the first, move to the next, and click. This way you understand that I want to extend this line until this. The other way is like you just click it, trim entities, cut the excess. Then we're gonna remove the fillets. Be careful. The excess. Because what we want. Actually I deleted the wrong part. We want to keep this. But what I want to remove is all the rest, because we just want to cut these little things back into the thickness of the flower. Where is the picture? There it is. I see what I did. Okay. Okay. I'm gonna do an edit. Okay, once we created the movement of the leaves, what we want to sketch is the leaves. But you can see that the leaves, they connect, but they do have kind of a little space between them. So we're gonna try to respect that. So then we can just smooth it off with fillets. But then we really have this depth of it. So first we're gonna punch the shape through everything, and then we're gonna bring back the these layers in between. So first we're gonna cut this and then bring back the thickness. So I'm gonna look for the right direction to come to cut. This is the top plane, seems to be good. Okay, I'm asking to see the top plane font. It's automatic on your version of SolidWorks. I just disabled it because of another project. Actually, I can bring it back. If I go to options, I can choose sketch, auto rotate view. Okay. The top plane, I'm asking to cut, so it's gonna open a sketch for me automatically. And now what I want to do is, first I want to put a center line. That's it. Then I want to have one line. On purpose, I don't go to the end of it. I want to stay just before. Since this is a better way of cutting. When we are punching through a shape, we want to have a bit of ODF, want to have a bit of leftover here. So I'm selecting both lines, mirror. Okay, now that I have it, I do selection of my sketch and the red dot, the center, using control on the keyboard. And here I don't want linear sketch pattern, I want circular sketch pattern. In the system here, I want 5. So I get my 5 flowers with tissue. And then I'm gonna play with the, okay, see everything moves. I can click on the top neck point, fix, and now we can play with it to see how wide or how thin we want them. Based on your design, I think we do want pretty thin flowers because we want them to be until there. Okay, so I want to keep that sketch. Now it's telling me, see, he can understand that here we have overlap and he doesn't like it. But in that specific case, it's on purpose because I do want to keep the original sketch. So here I go into selected contours at the bottom and I tell him you're gonna cut this area, and of course this time it is not doing it. There is not participating. Okay, so what we're gonna do, trim entities, and I'm gonna clean it up because it's not cooperating today. Once I finish, features, extrude cut, good. So now that we did that, you can see that we are direction 1, cut through everything. But I want to activate flip side to cut, so I'm gonna be left with the gray area. Good. So now we are good. Yuffie. So that's a good start. Now what we're gonna do? Yes. What we're gonna do? Okay, what we're gonna do, we're gonna bring back some thickness in order to generate the what you see here. So we have the flowers on the top and kind of a thickness under. So in order to do this in a simple way, we're gonna go back to our top plane where we started to work, extrude, and now I'm gonna use that sketch, convert, and fillet. Here I'm gonna see that's a little too much, I think. That's a little too much. Maybe 1 millimeter. Yes, one is enough. And I'm filleting this. Beautiful. This one. And now I'm gonna bring that up. Pictures, approve, extrude, and not that much. Here I want to do blind, and we're gonna look for it together. 2 millimeter is good. 3 is too much because then I'm gonna see it in the order. If I don't know until how much to add, I can use, see, if I tell him until here, he's gonna add it until that point. So if I don't know what that size is, I can do this. If not, I can do blind and I can 2.5 and look for the correct size. It's fine. And now we have it here. So by doing it this way, we have the volume of the flower, we have the elevation, the thickness of the flower, and we still have this little bump. So we are getting closer to your original design. And if we see that's not enough, I can always go back to the sketch, edit sketch. And here I'm gonna check here, and I'm gonna tell him 2 millimeter. You can see it's adding more, and this way we get even more vibe like that. We kind of finished with the petals. So now what we're gonna do is just use fillet to smooth things out, like in your design. But before we use fillet, that is notorious for crashing down the software, I'm gonna use save and give it a name. So we're gonna go for Aman. Good. So now that we have this, I'm gonna use fillet to smooth things. So I can start with 1 millimeter and see what happens. No, he's not happy. Why not? Tangent and propagation. Okay, let's try here. Okay. So let's start. Yeah, fillet, we need to see what we want to do. Actually, I can see that maybe 1 millimeter is a lot, so 1.5. Your feet, so he understands. Good, so I'm gonna do this. And that's still too much. Okay, so now we already have a smoother area here. Yeah, what happens if I do diamond? Okay, now he's okay with it. Good. So I just need to click on the line. He didn't want to give it automatically. So now that I have this, okay, yeah. So now that I have this, that's it. And you can see that we already have something really close. We can leave it sharp. If not, you can always do a fillet at the end. So you see, I'm not trying to put all the details in the same function. I'm just seeing, okay, what the computer allow me to do. And I apply. If you want rounder ends for the petal, you can change the value. Let's restart maybe to change too much the design. So 0.5 was a good start. Okay, you're free. So now we did that. We have a nice space for the button. And we have to decide if we do these lines first and this after. Maybe let's do it first because this is kind of overlapping with it. So it's not gonna be, you know, in our line of sight. So you use Gemini to generate it and Maya. Okay, so for the top, you're free. So now that we did that, I'm gonna come from top. You can see that I'm trying to place my camera and my plane of work in the same axis, and I would ask to cut. So now we can use either we can use here I can see that you have, they are not just little lines, they have kind of a thickness to it. Depending on where we look, it's a rectangle or it's a little let's try to follow the shape of the leaf. It's interesting because now that we have this surface, I'm not sure it's gonna let us translate this surface. So let's try something new. I'm asking to see it from the top. In order to replace your camera, do space on the keyboard like we saw during the lesson. And either you know from where you want to see it, here is the top, or you can always use this button. It's always gonna bring it flat. Okay. Now that we have this from the top, let's reuse, we don't have to reuse your sketch, but we can do this. I will bring back an axis and I will try to sketch a thin version of it. Click, same process like before. I'm making a line and doing a mirror, just trying to make details that will be big enough so they would be seen. Yes, again, if the line is moving too much, you can place it where you want to be and then you can lock it. Once we've done that, yeah, I'm gonna do the same like before. I'm gonna use this, bring this circle by using the convert function. So I just click on it and then I do convert, therefore I get the circle. I'm gonna select my lines and center, circular pattern. I ask for 5, and since I'm always rotating from the same center, I don't have to worry, they're all exactly the same. And I delete with trim entity all the parts I don't need, including the lines between the areas of cut. Now that we do that, voila, now it's good. We're gonna have to see how do we cut that. You have two options. We can cut through and we can bring back the thickness, depending on how much we want it to be precise. So I go back to extrude cut, and here if I ask cut from the surface, actually he managed to understand it. Ooh, I am happy. So now if we tell him you cut from that surface, I'll do that slower. I finish my sketch, I go to cut, he's operating the function. Instead of telling him you cut from the plane of where the sketch is, I can tell him here in the form option, which we didn't use until now, surface. So I tell him, I want you to use this surface as a reference, and you can see that now he's understanding that I want to follow the shape and cut inside. And I will tell him blind 0.6, the other way around, because I want to cut inside the surface. Okay. Now you can see that I have a carving inside the thickness of it. This is only 0.5 millimeter. It looks huge because your product is actually that size. That's it. So I think it could be good to stick to this level of details. I'm not sure we can add the other small lines. If not, just follow the same process to make them. Now I do save, and let's try to fillet it a little bit. So we can have the bottom. So I will start by filleting the bottom by selecting the lines. But in a weird way, it doesn't. Oh no, I know why it doesn't. But it's too small for him. Okay, you can see I'm 0.5 millimeter size for the fillet. See, it's already softer. And I'm gonna do another fillet here to soften the edges. And here I can see that he's not happy with it. So let's try 0.25. Okay, so sometimes he doesn't want. So at least now the bottom is soft. Actually, that's more or less exactly what you have: sharp line and a soft carving. So that's similar to your original approach on your 3D. Good, we're almost finished. So now we're gonna need to add all of this: 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So same logic, we're gonna make one and repeat it 8 times. So in order to do this little, it's look like they're stretching outwards. So we're gonna look for a plane that allows us to sketch. Here it is, to sketch straight. So let's use that plane and ask to see our flower from the side and extrude. Okay, it just did it, spin it around. So if we want, we can you can do shift and play with the arrows on the keyboard if you want to change the direction of the flower. If not, just remember that where is the main leaf and use that as the reference. If you want to do like what I'm doing now, just press on the arrows 1, 2, 3, and you can see how it turns. So here we want to add something in this area. It's looking like a small, like okay. We could use revolve for that. I think would be good enough. We don't have to use a loft for something so small. But these kind of little details are gonna. I'm hoping the printer is gonna be able to print them correctly. If not, we may have to skip them. Just to let you know. So here we want to print in this area. So first I'm gonna bring this circle and ask convert. So you see, don't let me do it because the plane is to the side, perpendicular to what I see. So yes, understood. So we click on that surface, and instead of convert, I'm gonna go to intersection curve. And now it's telling me this is where your circle ends, because we are working on the flower as if we cut it in half. So now that I have this, I can put an axis. So this way I will know how big it is. For example, that's 4 millimeter. And around that axis, we can start to sketch. I think the end of it's kind of a ball. Yeah, we can do it as a ball. We can ask that this ball will be 1.5 millimeter, and then you can grab a 3-point arc and just connect it like this. Do selection of both tensions, same as we did at the same exercise, going back inside. And okay, no. If we use revolve, we sketch only on one side of the axis. Then I will remove this, and I can just close my shape, and that's good. So now, because I'm not going straight, maybe here I'm gonna have a little leftover at the bottom. So usually what I do, I will lock this, fix, and I will just go down a little bit. Okay, I will. So what I'm gonna do, I'm gonna on purpose go down like this, but I need to respect the rule that nothing should cross the axis. So I need to play with extend, make the line longer, trim entities, and cut things. This I'm gonna switch it. I'm gonna keep this original line for construction. I'm doing this because because the axis is not straight, we are gonna have a piece in the air. So I want to be sure that we are going down straight into the base. You can use another trick, is this surface intersection curve, and it's gonna show you exactly how it is. So then we can actually combine this here, and we can delete that line and connect with this. So because when it's gonna spin, it's gonna add more, it will like add more plastic into the plastic, and then it's gonna be a cleaner file in the end. I finished with this. I just confirm that this is big enough. This is 5 millimeter. I could even ask that this would be 2 millimeter, and maybe I can have it even more than that. Wow, this is like things you need to decide when you sketch, when you design. It's up to you to decide how your pieces is behaving. How big is this? This is, ooh, that's really not much. So here we need to maybe this is fixed. I need to move it. I just want to be sure to have enough plastic, so I'm just gonna ask that this and this will be ready now. So we move because here you see that line, it's at the end is going to be 1 millimeter, because we are working on something so small that it's hard. This is the hard part of 3D printing. Is I'm trying to give you already advice on how not to go too small. If not, you're not gonna get this printed with details. And if we see that it doesn't look good, then we do the flowers, and here we have like a random little bump, and that's gonna fix it, because that's one of the issues of 3D printing. You can't do too small details. We finish with the sketch. I go to revolve, He's asking me where is the axis. The axis is here and here. Yep. So now that we have that, we need to spin it around. In order to spin a function around, I need to have a 3D axis. So I need to create it. So I will ask him, where is the front plane? Where is the right plane? And at the junction of these two planes, there is a line in mathematics. So in order to see it, we're going to ask reference geometry axis. And you can see that now it's showing us at the junction of these two planes, there is the line issue. Again, so selection of front plane, long control press on the keyboard, right, you go to reference axis and it's going to give it to you. Okay, now that we have this, I will tell me revolve on the left side and axis selected. Instead of linear pattern here, I want revolve axis, circular pattern, and here we're going to ask to have less because we counted 8 pieces of this. And now we have pistons. Similar. And if you see that they are too close, it should go more outward. Then you go back to your revolve, click, right click, edit sketch, and what you do is you grab it and you pull it out. You see what I mean? It's actually changing the axis, but it's also changing slightly the shape. So we want to have you need to find a way to pull it out more to the outside. Maybe to pull it down, and pull it down. See what happened here? It goes into the air. So if it happens, just pull it down until it connected to the ground. And here you have it. So it's a bit more outside. It feels like it's open. What's left for us is to add the central piece. That is kind of a straight shape. So here what we are missing is a flat surface to sketch on, but you can always grab it one from the bottom or using the top plane. And from this top plane, we're gonna ask to make an extrude, and we're just gonna put a circle. And just to be sure the circle is not too big, too small, this is 2.5 millimeter diameter. It's pretty small. So if we could even do 3, I'd be happy. 3 is a bit big. Yeah, you want 2.5. That's really, really tiny. We are talking about the thickness of 2 nails. It's nothing. Okay, and now actually I clicked a bit too fast. Edit feature. I need to tell him how big, how high I want it to be. So here I can start to play with the sizes. Okay, 10 millimeter is a bit too much. I can always grab the arrow. And I can tell him manually what it is. 7 is good. Well, it looks sharp. So if you don't want it to look that sharp, you go to fillet. Click on the surface, and here you can play with it until it's round. And that's it. You're having a flower with fairly geometrical central piece, but central piece nonetheless, and close to what you wanted. So that's it. In order to add a stick, depending on how you want to stitch it, you can use magnets, you can use we could make little holes. If not, you can always use that trick. Let's go to the yeah, for example, the front plane. Yes, front plane. No. Yeah, right plane is better because this way it's aligned with this. On the right plane, if you follow the direction that I sketched, you should end up with the same things. If not, aim for the plane that cuts your flower in the symmetry of that petal. And once you're here, it will do ask to do an extrude both base, and then we're just going to sketch something like that in the center. You want to have 2 millimeter. All should be enough to stitch. 3 if you want to be comfortable, but 2 should be enough. And then you ask an offset of 2 millimeter. Do you have enough plastic? Actually, that's 1.5 should be good. Yeah, let's put 2.5. 2.5 here. I want to change that side dimension. 2.5. Good. So now we're here. We go to extrude both base, and here you tell him mid plane. 3 millimeter, so it will be strong enough. We actually, let's get, and that's it. Okay, so here you have where you can pass a needle and thread, and if you want that to be soft, you can always put a fillet and click on the surface, click on that surface, and not on that line. Okay, that's funny that it doesn't do it. Yeah, that's it. So here we have where we can actually place the thing and have this flower. Good. So now that we have this flower, we do save. And yet again, now we need to go to print, 3D print. So first I need to prepare a file for print. Save as. Instead of SolidWorks, I want STL. So I scroll down and I have STL. Now that I have STL, I go to options, and here I don't want coarse. I want a bit more than fine, so I go to custom and I put it in the first third. Half is more than enough. You can see, see the difference, but here you can see how the circle is not a circle anymore, and here's the circle again. The first third is enough. Okay, so Aman button is saved. Is converting it to a language that the 3D printer understands. We are good. At that point, you need, in the meantime, to go to Michal on the first floor, on the ground floor, to open an account to print in the Fab Lab. It's 90 shekels up to 1 kilo of credit to print. And then once you get the cheshbonit, your invoice, you go back to Itamar on the second floor in the Fab Lab. You show him that you already paid. He's gonna add you to his Excel file where he managed the stock. And every time you print, he's removing the weight in plastic of what you print to your credit. And that's it, as simple as that. Yes, you can work together with other students. One student buy it, or you put money together, you buy it under one name, and then you can all use the same account, as long as you explain to Itamar that with whom you're working and who has an approval to use that account. And that's it. So now let's move to the next part of your request. That was, now that you did the flower, how could I do this box? So the first thing you're gonna do is you need to take some sizes of the bobbins, especially the center pin, because printing pins in 3D are notorious to break. Yes, they will break, especially for such a thin diameter. So maybe for that specific part, we're going to use a standalone piece of metal that you can glue at the bottom. In any case, for the rest of the box, if you want it to be really with the screw path, this is fairly complex. For that, we do that usually in the second semester. So right now, what we can do is just a box that closed on the top of it with a little friction. Or we can do like a right-left lock. You can try, just like printing threads are a bit tricky. So that's usually what where advice is not to go that far for now, but you can try. So for now, I'm just gonna show you how to make a lemon that has a flat base, and this, it's using revolve again. So that's pretty simple. But what we're gonna do is we're gonna make it whole and then cut it off. On the second part, for the flower, we can use the flower we already made, and we can use the leaf. We can place leaves on the top of your box. That's no problem. You just need to check with Itamar if he has yellow filament to print, or if not, you can print it white and paint it yellow. That's fine. I'm not gonna judge on the color of the print at that stage. Okay, so let's do that. I go back to this. I'm gonna do save. I'm gonna close that. Open a new part. Font, sketch, beautiful. So we put an axis because we want to use revolve. We make the base of the box flat, if not it will fail all the time. Let's put it as 2 centimeters, because every size I put will be duplicated while it's pinned. And then we need to sketch the lemon, so we can have shape like this, and then to have shape like that. So that's where you need to play with your sketch to have a perfect lemon the way you like it. Then what we could do even to have a little spinning, to have like, but actually lemons sometimes more have a little interesting. We need to have a little spitz at the top where they are connected. Doesn't matter. So either you make it sharp like that, or if you want it to be perfectly round, you make a line, horizontal line, and you ask that the line and this curve using control on the keyboard will be tangent. This way you're sure that you're gonna get a perfect circle. And then you need to play with the height and with the curve to really feel the shape of the lemon. Once we have done this, now we know it's a box. It's an empty box. So we need to already have hollow part. So in order to make it hollow, like we saw during the lesson, I can grab these two lines, offset. I'm gonna tell him I want this to be 5mm, more than enough, and I ask him to cap end lines. So he's gonna close my shape for me. So I'm asking offset, selecting chain, cap end, 5mm, and lines, and now you can see I already have this. So now if I ask the revolve, and I tell you where the axis is, you have shape. Again, if you want it to be more lemony and stuff. This texture that you see, this maybe you could achieve it by asking with Dama when you print, if you could try to have this kind of textures from the outside. Usually this is made while printing and not in the 3D software. So now that we have this, we can play here with a little chamfer, like 5mm chamfer. Yeah, let's see what it does. Why not? Okay, that's interesting. What? Okay, I'm curious. I don't understand why he's not doing it. Okay, no, not a must. Is not a must. I don't know why, because of the shape of the angle, he doesn't want to do it. Okay, so if you want this to be a bit shorter at the bottom, you can always play with your sketch and change the size, telling that this is 15, and you can see it's already more like that. If you want it to be a bit more lemon shape, you're gonna have to play with your sketch until you like the vibe. Okay, so now we did that. The line you see is where we have the junction in the sketch of the revolve. So now we have two options. Either we revisit the first sketch to create the where it's gonna cut, or we can do it as a secondary function. I think let's do that as a secondary function. It's a way to practice. So I use the section view in order to see our product as if it was cut in half, being sure it's cutting through a complaint. If you see, if you click on the button, it's going to show you different options. Good. So now that we're here, we need to sketch flat, and we need to sketch the system that is in the same logic. Even if we don't do a thread, we can still have something that will close. Okay, so if I do that, we need to see where you want it. It's actually fairly exactly where we have this line in the above the half. So if it's this half, we are above the half. So I found new sketch. Here I want to sketch here. So we are gonna ask to use now. The goal is to use revolve cut. In order to use revolve cut in that sketch, we're gonna want to place where we want to cut, and we're gonna sketch exactly what's gonna happen. We want this to spin and to cut the shape with that. So actually what we could do is even follow the shape, because we are not in the undercut, we are still in the top. So let's try to get this middle line. In order to get the middle line, I want to tell him that that's your face on the plane where we are looking at. how does it look with an intersection curve, same as we did before. And here I can tell him, please offset. Remember that we put thickness 2.5, so that is thickness 5, so that would be 2.5. I just want to get this middle line in, and then I throw the rest. Delete, and it's good. I can bring this line here, convert. I want to see that. Then I want to use extend. Okay, good. And now I want to have, this is the base where it's going to rest, rise, and another line. So I want to grab this, make an horizontal line, and tell him that there is 1 centimeter between both by putting a dimension. Oh, that's a lot. Let's just put 5 millimeter. Double click, 5 millimeter to change the size. And now I'm going to trim all what I don't need. I don't need this, I don't need that, I don't need this, and just double check I don't have nothing on the other side. Good. If we're about to use revolve, I need to put a center line. I place it in the same spot like the first one, using the red dot that is my origin. Now you start to understand more and more why I'm telling you to try to work based on around the origin, because everything is much simpler. If you don't have it, you need to look for the middle point. For example, let's say that you didn't build it according to the red dot, and you still need to find the center of that piece. So you have, see, if I go there, he's not giving it to me. So I need to tell him, okay, where is that line sitting? Even that line that we had before, convert. I'm telling him that I'm gonna delete it afterwards. And I'm looking, see, it's telling me where the center is, and then I go vertical. Now I can throw that line. So that's in case of you don't have the center point in the center, but please do. So now that we have this, we want to cut in the plastic enough so when I arrive from the top, it's gonna squish. But actually, the way I see it, because we arrive from the top with a slightly curved line, it's gonna sit perfectly on the top of each other. So what usually we do, we just add little bumps, like 3 bumps, 4 bumps, just to add slightly friction so it squish. So we can try it that way, but in that case, I'm gonna ask that it's 7 millimeter high. So this line stay fixed, so it's not gonna move. And now I'm gonna ask to change the height, 7 millimeter. Yep, that could actually work as a nice simple push and click using friction. Good. Now if I want to do that properly, I need to go there, and I tell him, I do a selection of the 3 lines, offset, and now I tell him that this is cap end, lines doesn't matter, bidirectional, and I tell him that this is 0.1 millimeter. I just want to generate, actually that's a lot, 0.1 millimeter, because that's going to end up being 0.2. So let's ask 0.01 millimeter. So we barely have a thickness to the cut issue. And once we have this, suppose you go to revolve cut. It's going to ask you, where is the line? Yes, that's good. Okay, I see what I mean. We forgot one option. So in that case, I will just tell him, see, I'm going in, getting really close. I'm selecting my original line, and I tell him to decide for construction. So that's it. And now if we do agree, sketch 2, revolve cut, I'm telling him that here is the mirror. That's it. Yes. So now what we did, you can see, we actually, from the outside, it looks the same. But from the inside, now we have the top, the bottom, and we have the top. So we have 2 parts. Exactly what we need, because the box is the bottom and the top, is a body and a cap. So now let's look at this. And I'm going to click on the top, right click, hide. And now what we want to do is add little bumps. So we put 3 little bumps, 3 little circles on this. So I'm looking for the font. I'm looking for extrude. I'm going to make a small circle in this area, really tiny. try this, a circle. See, it's telling me when I'm above the center. Yeah. And then I'm gonna fix. I can tell him that this should be going to the top, this should be according. That's actually too complex. Let's not do that. We can just small, it should be 2 millimeters, like really tiny. Just want a little bump on the surface, that's all. So we have this, just try to place it somewhere in the middle. Doesn't have to be precise for that step. If you really want to, you can tell him between that line to the center of my circle, we have 3.5 because we remember that the thickness was 7. Okay, and like we did before, I'm not gonna extrude from here. I'm gonna use the form function, surface, and I'm gonna tell him you do that only 0.25, 0.5, yeah, 0.25 should be enough. Okay, line. Now you can see it. And we just want it to go out. So a quarter of a millimeter. Now that we have this, we're gonna use a little fillet on this. 1 millimeter is good. The point is to add a little dimple, a little bump of plastic, and we're gonna use the same thing we did before. Round and right. I want to create an axis in order to use the circular pattern. So here I select the extrude I did, the fillet, and the axis, and I go to circular pattern, and I tell him I want, let's say, 5 because it goes with your the idea of the lemon that you have the same amount of petal. That's more than enough. Maybe that's gonna make it a bit hard to close, but that should be good. And improve. And now see we have all of these dots, and you have the top. In order to add the leaves and the flower, especially the flower, normally I'm supposed to use assembly mode. So first, for now, you can always print the flower and glue it on it. If you really want to to make the dome and place the flower, that's how we are supposed to do it. I'm just gonna give you a crash course on using assembly because we're gonna learn that next semester. So first I save my part, like lemon box. Lemon box. Good, so now that I have my lemon box, I go to open file, put your mouse on the logo, file, make assembly from part. You're gonna ask you to hide and show the origins. Click somewhere in the white. Here, click exactly on the blue dot. So now your box is on the center. The origin of the file and the origin of this file are the same. Now you go back to assembly. And you go to insert component, browse, and we look for the flower. And click somewhere. Now the trick is to move the flower where you want it to be on the box. So it's slightly on the top, but not exactly on the top. So first let's ask to see the box exactly from the top. Space on the keyboard and top. Now you grab this and see, so put it to the side. Now let's ask to see it from front and place it here. See, that's good. It means that it's inside each other. Let's bring it back from the top. Now it's more or less exactly. If you want to turn it, then ask to see it from one side. Here you're gonna have to play with the long click on the gadget on the wheel, because now what we can do, if we ask to see it from the front, we can also use the move component. You have rotate, and here see you can turn it. Good. So once you like the way it's placed, the angle it has, we can ask to see it from the top, place it, escape if you want to stop turning. If you ever get this weird purple thing, do F6. on the keyboard, and then place it where you want. So it's slightly off center. Let's go back around. What's important that it's inside. See, you want to see that. I can inspect your file if you get that far. Once we have this, we're good. Because then we can continue to work on our lemon from this spot. So now that we did that, I'm gonna click on the lemon, and then you see this function here. You have edit path. You do click on the lemon, right click, and then it's gonna show it here. You want edit path. What it yes, the assembly must be saved. Save. Okay. Save. Follow the process. Assembly. Aman. Lemon. Box. Good. I'm happy we get that far actually. If you want to, if you really, so okay, so whatever. Now it show you that this is in lines, just so you can get a feel of where it is, and this is your box. So let's look at it from the top, because now we can actually sketch the leaves according to the position of the flower. These and these are not the same in AI. You could see it. This is better because they're beside each other. It's easier to do. So let's make them that they follow the shape of the top. Much easier at that stage of the process. We can just do overall shape. If you want to keep digging into this, you can apply what we did for the flower that you cut, and then you fill it. So I'm sure now I'm just gonna show you the process of how to place the leaves. So once we have this, I have to see it from the top. So sketch. Here I go, see it's blue. You go to top plane. I'm gonna ask sketch, and now we need to sketch the leaves that are okay. So now again, I'm gonna do it more or less. So you're gonna have one leaf like that. Then you're gonna have to sketch your leaf the way you like it, a little bit asymmetric. Yeah, what's important is make them side by side, so it's gonna be easier for you to play with it. Okay, now that we have this, so you can see we have two leaves. You can place it a little. If you want them to connect, you can do it that way, and then you just trim entities, delete, so you end up having one shape. Okay, now that we have that, we go back to features, extrude. We use the same trick. I don't want to sketch from the sketch plate. I want to sketch from the surface, this one. And then we tell him this is actually 2 millimeter, 1 millimeter. I think 1 millimeter should be enough. Yeah, you can do 2 way you want. So see, if I make them bigger, they will go deeper on the box, and then you have it. So you could do the same by carving and shaping. So if we go back from the top, and it's okay to start like this and edit sketch, and then you continue. If don't cross this line, if not, you're gonna have issues. You're gonna be in the air, and then you can make them like deeper that way. You could put 3. This is depending how you want to sketch it. Good, beautiful. Now what's good is like you can decide, okay, how you want your flower to be integrated to this. So look pretty much above. So then you can play with it, bringing up the flower. That's why I like this function, because you can move things around and kind of like Play-Doh do it. If it's connected, you can even play with the fact that this is like this, so it's really slightly above. It would be better if you don't have that too much space in between. If that would be more like that, but play it. You know what? It's 3D. We're there to learn. And yep. So once you have that, we need one more step, because right now, say what we have is what happened? Okay. Oh, that's weird. Okay. What's good is like any change you're gonna do to that file is gonna appear to the unable to what? Okay. It seems that yeah. See what happened? I moved this too much outside, so he didn't like it. So you just need to be careful that when you sketch it, that this line should not be outside of the if you want to jump from file to file, it's Control Tab. Control Tab, and you can jump from file to file in SolidWorks. Okay, this what I'm going to show you now. You have to finish your design before you do that. It means like add all your details on the leaves, all your details on the box, on the flower before you glue them together. So now that we have this, we go to save, and here we're gonna have save as. Here we see we're in assembly mode. Now I'm gonna ask to go back to part, and it's gonna over there I'm gonna have the option to glue them back together, but I call this is like the last step before I glue them before we print. So now that I did that, and I choose not the first option but the second one, I go to save, and now it did it for me. So I close this. It looks the same. I close that, and I go where I put my files, and I need to carefully look at which one is the part, which one is the document, is the assembly. If it's the assembly, you're gonna see it. You're gonna see your part listed. And if not, when you look at the tab file, if you stand on it with your mouse, you're gonna see SolidWorks part document. And also, yeah, no, when it asks you, do you want to proceed? Say no. Now you see the difference that here it shows you blue blocks that can't be edited anymore. But we can do one last thing, is to glue them. So I go here to the top, and I choose combine. Yeah, what we are doing is what we're supposed to learn next semester. So it's fine if you choose just to do the lemon without all of these details, but if you want to go back until there, you can see it's not that complicated. Just follow the steps. Here we want add, and I'm asking, I want you to glue this, and I want you to glue that. Is show. And now you can see that we have in the solid bodies, we have the bottom and the top, and that is printable. Yeah, you need to be precise on maybe the flower should be a bit lower. See, for example, if now I want to lower the flower, I can't. But what maybe I would advise is, and you can do it for me as well, it's this, glue it down by adding plastic. But the best would be in the assembly. Now you see the difference? This is how the assembly look. I can still see all the parts, all the function and things. So in this one, take it down a little bit. Yeah, glue it lower on the part. This is better. And then, because if you do this change, then now you have to go back to do the same process. So I'm closing this, save, and I will do save, rebuild, yes, and save as part. I will try to override the lemon box v1, save, yes. So it's overriding the part. So now you still have your assembly, but what we used before, that is with the solid part document, appears as blue blocks. But now you see that the flower is lower. That would be easier to print. Once you have this, we do the same, combine. We tell him to glue the flower and the top, be sure, approve, save. So now we have this. Now we go back to save as STL to prepare it for print. And we go to Aman box. And that's it. Options, I check that I'm in the thirds. Okay, save, finish. Same process. You have your invoice. You go to Itama. He's gonna check how much it weighs, and you launch it to print. Check with him what colors are available: black, gray, white, maybe yellow, and have fun. Good luck.